He sold his company for $40 million, flew home coach, picked up his kids from school, made dinner. Nobody at that school knew. Nobody at that dinner table except his wife knew the full number. His neighbors thought he was a mid-level manager somewhere. He liked it that way. Not because he was humble, not because he was shy, because he understood something most people never figure out. And if you want more stories about people who figured out the game while everyone else was still arguing about the rules, subscribe, because we've got a whole library of this stuff, and none of it is what you think. There's a certain type of wealthy person you never hear about. Not on Forbes, not on Instagram, not at a TEDx talk in a rented blazer. They drive normal cars, live in normal neighborhoods, send their kids to public school sometimes, and they have 8 figures sitting in accounts that their own siblings don't know about. This isn't a coincidence. It's not modesty. It's not some Zen Buddhist detachment from material things. It's a calculated strategy, and once you understand why they do it, you will never look at loud money the same way again. We're going to talk about real people, real patterns, and one truth about wealth that the financial media doesn't cover because frankly it doesn't make good content. Quiet people rarely do, but their results are impossible to argue with. Think about every person you've ever seen announce big money publicly, the Instagram flexers, the YouTube entrepreneurs with the Lamborghini in the thumbnail, the guy at the reunion who told everyone about his crypto gains in 2021. You know what happened to most of them? The crypto guy lost 70% in 2022 and went quiet. The YouTube entrepreneur had 3 sponsors pull out and now posts once a month. The Instagram flexer is still posting, but if you look closely, it's the same watch in different locations. Loud money attracts problems. That's not a theory. It's a pattern that repeats so consistently it might as well be a law of physics. When people know you have money, they change. Family members start having emergencies. Friends develop investment ideas overnight. Lawyers start watching your decisions more carefully. Exes suddenly remember things that happen differently than you do. This is the first reason quiet millionaires stay quiet. Not philosophy. Pure self-defense. Here's where it gets interesting. There's a psychological concept called social comparison theory. When people know your financial number, they immediately start measuring their life against yours. And that measurement almost always ends in either resentment or expectation. Resentment looks like this. Your brother-in-law works hard, earns good money, feels proud, until he finds out you have 20 times more. Now his pride turns into something else. It's not his fault. It's just human wiring. We measure ourselves against the people closest to us, and when the gap is too big, it breaks something. Expectation looks like this. Your cousin's car breaks down, and instead of calling a mechanic, she calls you. Because you have money, you always have money. And suddenly your money is actually everyone's money, except nobody helped you build it. Quiet millionaires figured out early that broadcasting your wealth doesn't just invite problems. It fundamentally changes every relationship you have, and most of those changes are not upgrades. Warren Buffett has lived in the same house in Omaha, Nebraska since 1958. He bought it for $31,500. Today he's worth over $100 billion. He eats McDonald's. He drinks Coca-Cola. He drives himself to work. People always talk about this like it's a quirky personality trait, like he just really loves simplicity. But that's not the full story. Buffett has said in interviews that living simply removes noise. When you don't signal wealth, people treat you normally. They give you honest opinions. They don't perform for you. They don't try to sell you things or impress you or manage your perception of them. He gets real information, real conversations, real feedback. And in the investing world, in any world, honestly, real information is the most valuable asset there is. Quiet millionaires aren't just protecting their money, they're protecting their access to reality. Because the moment people know you're rich, they stop telling you the truth. Here's the part nobody talks about. Money grows faster when people don't know you have it. That sounds like a strange claim, but follow the logic. When you're visibly wealthy, you spend more. Not always because you want to, because the social pressure of maintaining that image is relentless. You bought the car, now you need the watch to match. Now the restaurant has to be at a certain level. Now the vacation has to look a certain way. Every visible sign of wealth creates an obligation to maintain it. Quiet millionaires don't have that tax. They live under the radar, spend based on actual preference rather than image management, and reinvest the difference. Over 10 years, that difference is enormous. There's a famous study from the book *The Millionaire Next Door*. Asterisk, Thomas Stanley's research from the 1990s. He surveyed thousands of high-income earners and found that the ones with the highest net worth were almost never the ones with the most visible lifestyle. The flashiest spenders were often the most financially fragile. The ones with the real money? Most of their neighbors had no idea. The compound interest of staying invisible is one of the least discussed wealth multipliers in existence. Here's the twist. The real reason quiet millionaires don't talk about money has nothing to do with money at all. It's about power, specifically who holds it. The moment you tell someone your number, you hand them a piece of power over you. They know your leverage. They know what you stand to lose. They know what you're protecting. Information about wealth is information about vulnerability. And in every negotiation, every relationship, every conflict, the person with less information about the other side has the disadvantage. Quiet millionaires aren't just playing defense. They're playing a longer, smarter game. They move through the world without showing their hand. And when they do make a move, a deal, an investment, a negotiation, nobody sees it coming because nobody knew the resources behind it. This is the real reason. It's not humility. It's strategic invisibility. And it works in business, in relationships, in life. The less people know about what you're holding, the less leverage they have over your decisions. So the next time you see someone flexing online and someone else who seems unremarkable, remember which one is harder to read. Remember which one is protecting something. The quiet ones aren't losing. They just learned that the scoreboard isn't public for a reason. And if you want more stories about people who understood the game before anyone else realized there was a game being played, subscribe. The algorithm won't push this in your feed unprompted, but you'll come back for it, because somewhere in the back of your mind, you already know the quiet ones are winning.